We're back. How's everybody doing this lovely Sunday night, Mother's Day night to be exact? This your boy Reg in the building. Got my homeboy Try with me. Got my homegirl Ash with me.
What up?
That's
Uh,
good.
Now we are still mourning the death of our music legends. And now this video we're going to talk about Uptown Records, like our top 10 Uptown Records albums. A little disclaimer though. Me and the team were talking about this idea as far back as possibly September, October. So for those of you that says, "Oh, y'all just doing this because Andre Harrell died," shut the fuck up. I asked Ash, "Are y'all comfortable with doing this right now? If I'm not rushing, let me know." They said they're fine with it. So there you have it. Plus, if you guys watch my channel over the years, you will know that Uptown Records, I've always had like a lot of love for Uptown. With cats like Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, Guy, Heavy D and the Boys, rest in peace Heavy D, and Trouble T. Roy. So yeah, so just throwing that shit out there. All right, so when it comes to like Uptown Records, man, it's like the sound is what really redefined R&B music in the late '80s up to like the early to mid '90s because of the fact that it was just basically the New Jack Swing was starting up around this time, and then you had the fact that it was like these rugged hip hop beats with some of the most soulful singing and whatnot too, and then you had some of the most talented producers and singers coming out, including one mogul that went and transformed into one of the successful hip hop labels of all time too. So now with this video, we're gonna discuss our favorite albums from Uptown Records and stuff. We're gonna do 10 albums just to keep it simple. So I'm ready whenever y'all are. Shit.
Are we gonna like do a history or like how we got into it or no?
Oh, we can do a history of how we got into Uptown. I'm cool with that.
Right, well, I got into Uptown and MCA like way early. Might have been like I want to say I'll be sure. I forgot. I forgot what album was the first for me. It was might have been I'll be sure first album in effect mode, and um I thought that album was great from I'll be sure. He was new artist at that time, and um he had a different type of voice for R&B, and through the years, like Heavy D. I think the first Heavy D album I heard was Living Large, might have been that one, and um he was a great artist, and Guy came along with their first album, and they were great, and it's a it's a lot of different artists. Father MC. I wasn't really big on Father until like the Close to You album, like the second one though. The first one was okay. I kind of slept on him on the first one though, but when Father dropped that One Night Stand joint, that was when I really became a fan of his, and um Jodeci when they came out with Stay, and I think back like I can't really remember like the first time I really got into this stuff, but it was like I was a big Uptown and MCA that checking for um like I said, like the very first concert ever I went to, I was 14, went to see the Uptown MCA tour in Long Island. Um and that was a great show, like seeing people I used to watch on video on TV all the time, and then like actually being there in person and seeing them perform live was like an out of body experience, and that was Mary's first tour when she came out with What's the 4-on-1, and I remember all the songs he did. You Remind Me and Real Love, and reminisce. Father MC came out. He did his thing. He did a one night stand. He did treat you right. Um, everything's gonna be all right with Jodeci. They were like the headliners. They performed a lot of stuff. Heavy D came out, was a surprise guest, and then you knew about Puff, but Puff was like the hype man for that label at the time. I mean, he was like an intern, but you knew who he was at that point because he was like promoting himself at the same time. Like you would see him in like the Source magazine or like Vibe magazine, and he like was like doing fashion ads for like Call Kana and stuff like that. So we knew who he was. He gave like the image for that label for Jodeci and for Mary J. Blige and Heavy D, the boys in them, and it was a great time to be an R&B fan for music when you didn't really have like, I mean, you had labels that they had their R&B acts, but like Uptown was like the label. They were like the R&B Def Jam to go to. If you was R&B, you had to be on that label because that was the label that was bringing out all the hits, and they had that swagger about them. Like they're the best that's doing it, and and it was just, I remember seeing the MTV Unplugged for the show, and that was a great show. And I never watched MTV Unplugged before. Like I never was into that show. And when they started doing like the urban shows, like the MTV Unplugged for Uptown MCA, and then they did the rap one
Mm-hmm.
with LL and Tribe and them, and I became a fan of that show. It's just a sad thing, for Andre to be gone. Like we lost a legend. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy how he gave Puffy a shot, and then years later, Puffy gave him a shot at Bad Boy, and I don't know, like it's just a sad lot. I actually wanted people to see the this is my scrapbook of like concert shows and shit. I want people to see the this is the actual Uptown MCA concert ticket and shit,
Uh-huh.
and just the sad thing, man, is just like when I heard about it, I was like, damn, man, that's we lost a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna be missed because I don't think, especially now, like with today's R&B, it's like we don't have no Andre Harrells in the business no more. We got L.A. Reid, but L.A. Reid not even L.A. Reid no more. You know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
it's just gonna be a sad loss, and the Soul for Real and Monifa, Lost Boys, like the countless artists Erica Badu, countless artists he was responsible for,
Vicky.
and it's just gonna be like it's just a sad loss, man. Like you know,
Yeah, I really didn't get into Uptown Records until I didn't know some of the biggest names, such as Heavy D and the Boys and Mary J. and Jodeci. I mean, I've heard of their stuff and I listened to their stuff before, but I just wasn't aware that they were on Uptown Records until I ended up purchasing Mary's What's the 411 in my life.
yeah,
And yeah, I had no idea that Uptown even had more artists on there. Um, that some of which I wasn't too familiar with, or others that they were way before my time. But but I felt Andre Harrell did give a lot of phenomenal people in the industry a shot, and look how far they came from the early years, from the New Jack Swing era into what I think is considered a real era in R&B, which is still lacking today. And it's a shame because that man Gave a lot of good people a shot, from Albie Shore to not only that, but also letting Puffy intern for him. And lo and behold, who knew that Diddy was going to become one of the biggest music moguls and running one of the well-known record labels of our time, Bad Boy Records. But yeah, it was very shocking loss because that man was not even that old to begin with, and I'm like, what? Like, I really thought that man was gonna be around until like at least he became 100 or something, you know. But it really is a sad day for the music world because I know he had a lot of connections and was friends with a lot of other great people within the industry or outside the industry. Yeah, he will be missed.
That I can't remember the exact moment where I just heard an Uptown album and I was like, oh, I just gravitated towards it. But I can honestly say some of my earliest memories for me was listening to like the old Heavy D and the Boys albums and the Mary J. Blige albums and whatnot, and just I guess just just growing up with that sound, that that not like New Jack swingish sound like towards like the '90s, but like that emergence of the hip hop soul sound and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And it just always gravitated towards me, just how impactful Uptown is and it was and still is to this day. Yeah, like y'all said before, Andre Harrell definitely is like a trailblazer, put a lot of people on the map, mm, and to this day he should get some of his due and stuff like that, in my opinion. So yeah, with that being said, we're gonna start off with the list. Um, you guys know most of my lists are not really in any particular order because I was just searching through and just writing the ones that I pretty much pick up on the occasion. So I'm gonna start my list off with I'll Be Sure's In Effect Mode. Came out in 1988. Very, very, very dope album. I'll Be Sure. Quincy Jones is protege, say the least. Um, him, Teddy Riley, and Kyle West, they definitely did a thing with his album. And y'all should know I'll Be Sure. He got to start by singing like background vocals for Heavy D and the Boys, especially on the Living Large album. So yeah, this album has like classics like Night and Day, which everyone knows that song. Ooh, This Love Is So. Um, Off on Your Own Girl, which crazy story about that track. I was watching his song a couple days ago, and he wrote that song after the girl he was dating in high school left him for another girl. So that's very interesting.
Right.
And it has a cover of "Killing Me Softly," the Roberta Flack cover, which is a
Right.
highly better cover than the Hotel California cover that he did on the
Oh God.
Private Times and the
The
whole
second
nine
album.
album and shit like that. So with that being said, yeah, this is a New Jack Swing classic. I'll be sure like this album was has been compared a lot to Key Sweat's "Make It Last Forever" and whatnot because you know Teddy Riley was the man back in like the late '80s and shit like that. He was doing those albums, working with Kumo D, then grooming up
Mm.
his guy and shit like that. So yeah, this is a very, very, very influential, dope album. Love it.
Is the soundtrack. Love this soundtrack. It's one of the best of all time to me.
Yes.
You know, the movie was good. I think the soundtrack was better, but even back then, we had in the '90s we had great movies and great soundtracks as well. Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood. You know, this was a great soundtrack. Eric Sermon hitting switches. Love that song. House of Pain, Who's the Man? They did that joint. Um, People I Can See on Smooth was what's next on the menu. Jodeci, Going Through the Motions, Mary J. Blige, You Don't Have to
Oh,
Worry. Hit after hit on this soundtrack. It is a classic. Biggie Smalls, Party and Bullshit. That was like the first Biggie song I ever heard.
Hmm.
This is Ready to Die.
yeah,
Um,
well,
it's a classic soundtrack. I love it, man. I forgot this was on Uptown MC. Like, it had like all the Uptown MC artists except for People I Can See Smooth and Big and them. But it's great. It's a great soundtrack. Nice blend of R&B and hip hop. And yeah, that's my number 10 on it.
yeah, man. And thank you again for hooking me up with that soundtrack again, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, my number 10 is Forever My Lady by Jodeci. I feel like that was really the perfect introduction to these guys. And a fun fact is that they're from my hometown, known as the 704, aka Queen City. So yeah,
Yeah, no doubt.
yeah, yeah. And they have a lot of countless hits, including the title track, of course, Forever My Lady, Come and Talk to Me, Stay. I know my mom loves their music, as
Yeah,
well as Casey and JoJo, some of their solo stuff as well. But yeah, it is an unforgettable and timeless album. And I remember they had an appearance on an episode of In Living Color for the song Times We Share.
Yep.
right.
I like their live performance version of it versus the album version. Like I wish they would have had like a remix or something for that. That would have been dope. But yeah, I honestly had no idea that these guys were on Uptown MCA at the time. But yeah, that's a good album. I need to get my hands on that one day too.
Sure.
Yeah, man. Both of y'all got some dope picks and shit. Um, my next pick is an album I don't hear a lot of people talking about. And around this time, this group was going through so much hell, which I'll get into. And it's Guy with the Future album. This was the second studio album. In my opinion, their best album, in my opinion. I like this album way more than the debut album, which is a good album in its own right. But with this album, man, let me just explain what's going on. So around this time, they were going through like a lot of issues because their manager, Gene Griffin, was taking money from the group, wasn't paying them their rightful money. And this led to Aaron Hall not really singing as much as in the debut album. So Teddy Riley was singing the majority of the songs throughout this whole album. Also around this time too, they were beefing with one another too. I think for control and whatnot. Aaron and Teddy was really butting heads around that time. Then everyone, if you guys are goth, y'all should know about the incident that happened with New Edition when they went on tour. When one of New Edition's production managers shot and killed one of guys security and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Which resulted to one of the songs "Long Gone" being like a tribute to the cat that got shot. New Edition always has some bad issues tour. So
Hmm.
yeah. So like around this time, this whole album, they broke up after this album. And they didn't get back together until Guy 3, which happened in 2000, which that album was alright. It was alright. It wasn't really too crazy about that one. But as for the future, man, it has a lot of classic joints like Do Me Right with Heavy D. Oh, my fucking God. I love the video to that.
Oh yeah.
Um, Let's Chill. I love, love, love that song. The video is dope too. They got the cover of Yearning for Your Love from the Gap Band. DOG Me Out. That was attacking their manager. Teddy's Jam 2. Man, this whole album is something special. Like I definitely we definitely gotta do a review on this album one
Oh yeah.
day. Cause it gets so much slept on. A lot of people say it's not as good. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all even listening to? Yeah, this is Teddy Riley at his prime, in my opinion. My fucking prime. Yeah, man. This is the future album from God.
Okay, number 9 for me, So For Real, first album,
Ooh,
1995, Candy Rain, love it. Me and Reg discussed this I think like 2 years ago. Um, great album. Candy Rain, Every Little Thing I Do, Ain't No Sunshine, production by the Trackmasters, Heavy D, rest in peace to him. I don't know. I think after the first album, I didn't really care for the second one, but I think their first album is a classic, and I don't know what happened. They got big and then they just fell off, but it's definitely a slept on album. I don't consider them a one hit wonder. I think they had some other hits to just what I mean. They just had like one good album. Like it happens. We've seen rappers where they have one good album and they disappear. But I think this is definitely a slept on album, and I wish they did have like other releases on the label that were good, but I definitely had to put this on the list because it doesn't get as much love as it should. So this is my number 9 pick.
yo, I remember I roasted that album cover for a while.
Yeah, I remember that.
I
Yep.
remember we roasted that
I remember
album.
that.
Oh man, that was a fun. That was a
Yep,
fun review, man.
Yeah.
that was great.
Even though that was a good album, but yeah, that album cover was questionable.
Oh my fucking god, Miles' brother with that fucking pose.
Wait,
Maurice.
you mean the one that was pointing or
Oh yeah, the one.
The
Yeah. The middle nigga that was just looking like you saw the nigga's whole side of his whole face and shit. That nigga with his hands on his hips. That's my favorite one. He he act like he gives the best nuts to females and shit. He just posing like he gives the best nut.
it's crazy,
mm,
crazy.
Mm.
okay. Yeah, my number 9 was a name of an artist that I'm not too sure a whole lot of people are familiar with. Jeff Red, his album A Quiet
Mhm.
Storm.
I heard
I
about
remember
that.
I
Yeah,
heard a song of his in the movie Strictly Business. Yeah. You
man.
called and told me. Yeah, because ever since I heard that song, I was like, who is this guy? Because, I mean, I think that's the thing. I think this is probably the only album he ever dropped because I was looking on some information online about him. And so far, he went on to do some A&R work and I guess work behind the scenes in the music business. So unfortunately, I guess he didn't have much of a music career after that first album of his. But yeah,
Yeah, I definitely need to peep that album because I've heard some good things about it too. So
yeah,
now, when it comes to this next album, it proves that consistency is key to having a key legacy. And so the album I'm going to pick is Heavy D and the Boys' Nothing But Love. This was the fifth and final studio album. Yes, it is a classic. Um, but you know how certain rap groups they always have like, or certain not just rap groups, but certain rappers they always have like a certain debut album that's a classic, a second album that is good but not as dope as a classic. The third or fourth album might be a little questionable, and then they just forget about the rest of the discography. Heavy D and the Boys were not like that because I feel like each album they just got better and better and better. And with this project right here, this came out after Blue Funk, which I liked it, but a lot of diehard fans they kind of didn't like the dark
Right.
atmosphere with that one. You know what I'm saying? And so with this
Mhm.
album right here, they kind of went back to their roots. Um, it's nothing but love just by itself is such an iconic song. Just that beat, like that dun 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 dun,
yeah,
like it's just a
Yeah.
timeless beat. I love the video to that. Spend a little time on top. Woo!
Fire.
Dope track. Um, got me waiting. Both the
Yeah,
Yes.
and the
love that.
remix. Silk. Oh
Yeah,
my fucking god.
crazy.
Black Coffee.
Yes.
Fucking what's that one? Even the intro, Friends and Respect, where
Yeah,
you had
that was.
all those cats, from LL to Martin to
Mm,
Lil Sean, Spike Lee, giving
right.
props to it just shows you the influence and impact have had on the whole hip hop community and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And this actually was their most successful album. Their
Mm-hmm.
most successful album. What other final studio album or even their fifth album, rappers reached that commercial heights? You know what I'm saying? So, with this album, after this album was released, Heavy D went solo, and the boys did different things. Eddie F, he had his own. He dropped an album, the Let's Get It On album, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all check out that song "Let's Get It On" with Pop, Have, Biggie, and Grand Puba. Fire track, man.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing
Yeah.
but love. Amazing album, classic.
Okay. Number 8, I got God the Future.
Yes.
Classic album. Like Red said, everything that I wanted to say. Great album. Teddy's Jam 2. Do Me Right was great. I want to get with her, and they got the I want to get with her the club version. It's like the bonus track on here. It's just a great album. I loved it. I liked the first album too, but this one definitely is. They stepped their game up on this album, and yeah, he was in his prime. Definitely a classic album. The guys is a legendary group as well. So that's my number 8.
Yeah, man. And one more thing I want to mention, they was supposed to come out with an album back in '95, from what I've read, but
Right,
as usual, they were going through a lot of issues and whatnot, So and I think Aaron Hall went to prison, or
right.
I think he went to prison around the mid '90s or some shit too. So
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
was
know
that
that.
was for They said he supposedly he was dating Patra, and he beat Patra or something like that.
yep,
Hmm.
And he went to jail, and then he came out, and he was in and out of jail. So
I didn't know that.
yeah,
yeah, because it's crazy too. Because even that Vlad TV interview he did years ago, it just
I
disgusts
think
me.
you ended up sending me a link for that,
Yeah,
and even hearing, it, I'm like, what the?
hmm
it low key kind of disgusted me a little bit.
Yeah, it
It's
did. It disgusts me
right.
like,
too.
and I love Aaron Hall as a singer, but that shit as I don't, his personal life is just too much, man.
It just was all over the place. And the last thing
hmm
I remember hearing about him was he ended up becoming like a dog whisperer.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Even when I told my mom that, she was like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what he's been doing." Mm, but yeah, how unfortunate.
It's like,
My
oh man.
number 8 was Heavy D and the Boys, Living Large, The Old Weight Lovers in the House, and Don't You
Yeah,
Know, and
I
because I
see.
know my dad, he had I think a greatest hits album of theirs, but I know that was one of his favorite songs from there, and I know my mom liked Don't You Know, and I know from their other albums, my mom liked Nothing But Love. She loved that song.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
classic.
yeah, that's a classic too, and I can't. It does not feel like it's been almost 9 years since his passing. To
Oh
be
man.
honest,
Crazy.
even his death was shocking as I don't know what. Because I remember watching the BET Hip Hop Awards of 2011 that year, and I remember him performing, and I'm
hmm
like, yes, finally,
Right.
like, because no one had seen him in so long, and it was just, I was just in awe of that performance, and even when he was singing "Now That We Found Love," even when he had Tyrese up there with him, and still was moving and grooving, and I'm like, man. Man, that man, he really brought a lot to hip
Yeah,
hop.
Yeah, man. One of the most beloved rappers. I never hear anyone say a bad thing about Heavy. Never, never
yeah,
No.
a bad
none.
thing. And Living Large, man, I recently heard that album for the first time. You know, when me and Tribe, we were doing the Heavy D video, and I was amazed. Just the production, the mixing on the album was for 86, 87. That album was released. It was amazing.
87.
Yeah,
87. Thank you. Yeah, man. Like, ugh, man. I'm sorry. I have to say this. It's always the people that we take for granted
Mhm.
when they're alive, when they
Yes.
pass away and shit like that.
right.
We just remember how much of an impact they made. And then it's always the motherfuckers that try to cause negativity and harm that just
Yeah.
shoves up in your area. I don't
Like
wish
it
death
ain't
on
no need for
nobody.
that.
Yeah, I don't wish death on nobody. But some days I question why some people are alive. You know.
Yeah, I would not even wish death, not even on my worst enemy. And yeah.
Shit. But yeah, dope picks. Dope picks. Now this is next album. This is probably an album a lot of people are tired of hearing me talking about. Jodeci's Diary of a Madman. If I was to have like a top 10 R&B, this would probably be my top five.
Oh yeah,
This album, in my opinion, the best R&B album that was released in '93. I like this album way more than 12 Play,
mm,
way more than Tony Braxton's self-titled, way more than What's the 411 remix. Yep, I'm going there. This album is a landmark. This album, everything on this album was top notch. Vocals, production, content. Like the first album introduced us to Timbaland and Missy.
right.
Oh man, like this whole fucking bro, like, and I, it's like if this album was a fucking girl, I would fuck this all night long. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would, I would just give, I would fuck this album like all night long if it was a good. It's just a dope
Uh,
ass album. Like, just from the beginning of My Heart Belongs to You,
mhm,
huge contrast to Forever My Lady and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then don't even get me started on Alone. And then you had that one song, You Got It,
right.
fucking Wendy
Redman.
Williams in the fucking intro and whatnot.
Yeah.
Redman dropping some of his dirtiest rhymes and shit.
Hmm.
This was like pre Dark Side of Redman, which is
Right.
Try's favorite album. So he's solid. He's solid. Um, fucking Fiendin'. The Eric Sermon remix though deserves mention.
Yeah.
What about us, man? Oh,
Hmm.
and this whole fucking album is a banger, man. This whole it's some futuristic shit. Never have I heard an R&B album like this, in my opinion.
Right.
I definitely feel that. I feel like this album it doesn't really get a lot of credit, especially when you compare it to a lot of R&B or R&B that's released today, where it wants to go for that futuristic approach. Like niggas should take note about this album. Like, and Devontae, this is probably Devontae Swing's best production. Period.
Right.
Like Devontae Swing has some of the best and dirtiest production, man. Like, but that's another story for a different day. This is Jodeci Diary from Mad Band. I'll probably talk about this album another time, but so much things has just been said about this. My
Cool.
shit.
Number 7 for me is Father MC, Close to You. I
Ugh.
think I think he is the most slept on artist on Uptown. I really do. I think um like we knew who he was back then. You know, like he was like another version of LL, but darker than L. Like he had hits though. He had some hits. You know, like I said earlier, like he had a Do For You and treat them right, treat them how they want to be treated, and One Night Stand, um, 69. He has some joints. Everything's gonna be all right with Jodeci. I think Close to You is his best album though. Like, cause that was like a nice blend of R&B and hip hop together. Like the same type of formula like Heavy D used for a lot of his albums. You know, he had joints like Affection and One Night Stand and the title track. Um, I mean, like I said, everything's gonna be all right. I was like a big hit off of that album as well. And I think it was nicely done. It was great production and um he had a couple of features on there, and I just think people slept on him, and it's a shame, you know. But that's definitely one of my favorite Fall MC album, and I wanted to put that on the list. That's my number 7.
I gotta be keeping a buck with Sheep Tribe.
Uh,
I've always thought Father MC was a ripoff of Big Daddy Kane. I've always thought
you
about
think
that.
so? Big Daddy Kane, really?
Yeah, like
But he didn't have the boss like Kane though.
I know, but it's like with Kane, he took the sexual appeal of Kane
Mm,
and he elevated it.
right.
Elevated it. That's the same thing I saw when I Father MC. Like I never just been. I just always saw him as like one of those
But
MC.
if you think about it though, like what if Kane had tried to do what Father MC did? Then he wouldn't be Kane. You know what I'm saying? Like I think Kane's downfall was trying to do those type of Father MC songs because we didn't want him as a lyricist. We didn't want him to do songs like "Loving You" and groove with it and very special. That's when he started to fall off when he was doing those type of songs. If you gave those songs to Father MC, that would have been a hit for him. But for Kane, for his caliber, I don't think his fans wanted to hear that R&B crossover from him. And I think if Kane tried to do what Father MC did, this is why he started to fall off. But Kane was a lyricist. Like we already knew what Father MC was from the first album. Like I knew he wasn't no spitter like that. So you know what I'm saying? It's like we had entertainers just like now. Like you got spitters and you got entertainers. Like Drake is an entertainer. Conway and Benny are spitters.
Mm.
Back then, Hammer and Father MC were entertainers, and you had your Rakims and your Cool G Raps and your Kings. That was the lyricist. So we already knew the difference, and that's just how I looked at Father MC. I just felt like for him, I guess maybe because he was on a label that was like mostly based on R&B, he wasn't as popular as the others. Like Heavy D was a spitter, but he had like R&B influence in his music, and he made it work for him. You know what I'm saying? But I think Father was slept on. I mean, maybe people felt like like he was trying to bite Kane or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or he was trying to bite LL or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what it is. But I think he had like I think all of his albums were dope. It's just that he wasn't as popular as the other artists on the label. So
Mm. Yeah, I respect your opinion though. I respect your
he
opinion.
ain't for everybody. He's an acquired taste. Like Westside Gun is an acquired taste. He's not for everybody.
Right.
Yeah, my number 7, Try already mentioned this earlier, Who's the Man soundtrack.
Mm.
Yeah, because they got like a lot of timeless stuff. I know from Mary J to Biggie's, yeah, and it was just, even though I haven't seen that movie yet. I mean, wait, what year did that movie drop?
93.
Okay, yeah, I think that was like a few months before me. So yeah, too bad I wasn't around to see that movie yet. But hopefully one day I would be able to see it if they have like on DVD or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was overall a good soundtrack, and it really does say a lot for a record label to put the most talented artists and acts on there on a soundtrack, and it's that good.
Yeah, man. Um, It's been a while since I've seen Who's the Man. I definitely got to rewatch that movie.
Classic, classic.
Now for this next album, this album pretty much redefined R&B and in a way hip hop too. I mean, this whole album was probably one of the reasons why Puffy's name is as synonymous as it is. And I'm gonna give it to What's the 411. And you know what? I'm also gonna give an extent to the remix album, but I'm gonna talk about the remix album in a bit. Now, What's the 411, man? This album is such a masterpiece. Like Mary J. Blige just came out of nowhere with soul singing over rugged hip hop beats. I mean, and it wasn't like it was kind of like it wasn't New Jack Swing and stuff like that. It was pretty much like that's when you consider it to be like a hip hop soul and whatnot. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Right.
It's a difference. It's a difference. Not a lot of people know the difference between hip hop soul and New Jack Swing. New Jack Swing just relies more heavily. It's like a more funk based. You know, it has
Mm-hmm.
more fast paced drums.
Yeah.
Whereas with hip hop soul, you can take like a regular beat that was probably made for like a rap or whatnot, and you just have some singing, just have somebody singing over, it, you know. And yeah, you pretty much can say it is the same thing, but it's really not. And listen to an album like What's the 411, and listen to like Pebble's first album, and then you'll know the difference. Shit, but back to What's the 411. Yeah, man, this whole album is not a bad track on this album. Definitely has like some dope songs, like some of R&B's best writers, like
Mm-hmm.
Green, Devontae Swing was on there. Some of the best producers, you know, like David Jam Hall, Devontae Swing, Puffy executive produced this album, but this was before he was all in the videos, all in the songs, and whatnot. And this with this album right here, there's certain songs like changes I've been going through. What's the 411? You remind me. Um, my all-time favorite song off this album, No Limit. Like it's just such a dark album in a way. This is the kind of album you'll listen to pretty much. This is the kind of albums like females will listen to when they're about to, let's just say like they're about to just go out to a bar and shit like that. They want to act they want to act chill and whatnot. This is pretty much the
Right.
album they listen to, just trying to get away from the men issues. You know what I'm saying? And then when it came to like the remix album, the What's the 4-1 remix, it was just such a groundbreaking effort because he was just furthering cementing the marriage between R&B and hip hop. Because that was the first album where a lot of people heard Biggie. That was the first album a lot of people heard Craig Mack. That was the first time maybe a lot of people heard Kid Capri for the first time. You know what I'm saying? And just the whole production on the album was just very, 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 very dope and influential. And some days I will listen to the remix album more than the original album, and some days I will listen to the original album more than the remix album. But yeah, I just want to give that slight nod to the remix album because it's few remix albums that I can bump on a regular, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a great segue. My number 6 is the remix album. What's the phone one? Great remix album. This is probably the best remix album ever. I love BBD's remix album, but this is better than BBD's remix album.
That was a good one.
Um, yeah, you got Craig Mack, Biggie, and Heavy D all on one remix album. Rest in peace to all of them. You got Kid Capri, you got Ron G, two legendary New York DJs on one remix album. Teddy Riley was on here. He did a couple remixes. Rashad Tumblin Dice. Um, Casey from Jodeci was on the Love No Limit remix. Just a great remix album. And like Greg said, like there was days when I would play the what's the 4-1, the regular album, then I would play the remix. and it went back and forth. So this was definitely heavy in my rotation. And man, they don't make remixes no more, but I
Mm-mm.
think definitely Mary is the queen of remixes. Like Mariah did her thing, she had her little run, but I think Mariah did too many remixes. Like she didn't know when to stop. Like she was doing remixes with everybody and anybody. But Mary, she picked her remixes wisely. Like she picked remixes with like like not everybody that was hot, but it was like when you
Mm-hmm.
had Mary on a collab, she elevated the song. So I think Mary really is the queen of hip hop soul and the queen of remixes, in my opinion. So I definitely think this is a classic, and I definitely have to put this on the list.
Yeah, my number six is Christopher Williams. Changes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because of course everyone knows that one song he's had, "Dreaming," which was featured on the new Jack City soundtrack, as well as the film.
yeah.
And plus, I think he was in that movie too.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Because I know they play that song on the radio still to this day. And he had two other hit singles off that album. "Every Little Thing You Do" and what's that other one? That other one was "All I See" and "Come Go With Me." But I haven't heard none of those on the radio a lot. But overall, I know my mom remembers his name, and I think she probably had that album on cassette. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, man. Christopher Williams, man.
Mhm.
I'm not really, I'm not really too big on Christopher Williams like that, but he did have one song I like in particular. But I'm gonna save that. You want to talk about the album? Um, you guys already mentioned this, so I'm just gonna say it's the "Who's the Man" soundtrack. Um, yeah, it's a very, 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 very good soundtrack, man. Excuse me. A lot of classic shit was on the here, like Jodeci's "Let's Go Through the Motions." Pete Rock and CL Smooth, "What's Next on the Menu." The Notorious B.I.G. with "Party and Bullshit."
Mhm.
But not Eric Sermon with "Hitting Switches." That was also on the his solo debut, "No Pressure," which very dope
Right.
album. Need to review that album. Though. Need to review that.
Yes.
This yeah, this is a very well-rounded soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? I have to re-listen to the soundtrack myself because it's been a while since I peeped it. But yeah, um, excuse me, damn, I can't talk. Yeah, this is a very good soundtrack.
My next one I had at number five, but I made a last minute change. I actually had it at number three, but I made a last minute change. It's now number five. Reg mentioned this before. Heavy D and the Boys, Nothing But Love. One of his best albums ever. Classic album. And I love Heavy D. Like I think Heavy D have more than one classic. Blue Funk I love. I think Blue Funk the problem with that, it was a little bit too hardcore. And I think at that time, like late 92, early 93, like a lot of fans wasn't ready for that from Heavy D. A lot of artists, including Queen Latifah, was the trend for 93 was becoming hardcore because of Snoop and Dre and Death Row was getting big. A lot of artists were doing either you were doing the street hardcore sound or you was doing the diggity da style of rap or whatever. And when you had artists like LL Cool J with 14 Shots to the Dome, and you had Queen Latifah with Black, even though Black Rain, it was a mixture of like R&B. There was some like hardcore joints on there, like Just Another Day, Black Hansard. Um, the youngsters they came out with a harder edge with the aftermath that year. Um, and Heavy D came out with Blue Funk. It was more like bass heavy, but I think like the tone of the album was more dark. It was more a street sound for Heavy D that we normally didn't see. So I think that's what turned people off from Blue Funk. But he came back with Nothing But Love, and it was more funky, it was more soulful. Um, production by Pete Rock on Got Me Waiting and Sex with You. We had Marley Marl, spend a little time on top. Eric Sermon would Take Your Time, one of my favorite tracks on here. He sampled the Patrice Russian Remind Me joint. Teddy Riley did the remix for Got Me Waiting with Soak, like Reg had mentioned. Just a classic album. I've played this album like to death. Like, yeah, I think this is like the most played Heavy D album I played. Like, it's that great. Rest in peace to him. I was fortunate enough also that year to see him again in concert. I've seen him like 2 or 3 times. The first time was the Uptown MCA tour, and then in '94 for the when he was on the Budweiser Superfest back when Budweiser was doing tours or whatever, and he was came out with Nothing But Love, and I seen him in concert then, and just a great artist and a great person, and still miss him to this day. So this I definitely had to put this on here. So this could have been in the top 5, but I made a switch and I put it number 5, but it was definitely my number 3. But I think I have a better album for number 3, but definitely a classic album.
Yeah, my number 5 was another album that Try mentioned earlier. One I remember we all did a review on, Soul for Real, Candy Rain. Of course, yeah,
Yes.
that's a very good album. Even though I never heard their second one, and I don't know what I guess what their endeavors are right now, whether it's music or outside of music or whatever. But yeah, this really put these guys on the map. Of course, their title track, Candy Rain, is a big hit. And I know during my undergrad years in school, I remember hearing that song getting played a lot for either certain 1040 breaks or certain pre-dawn parties or at sporting events, whatever, wherever on campus I heard this song getting played. And every little thing I do, I love that song too. And with that Gap Band sample, I like that one. And Ain't No Sunshine, that was a good rendition, but I wish, excuse me, they would have did it did a full version versus I guess kind of like an interlude type version of it. But overall, that was a great album.
Yeah, man. And when you speak about all the undergrad days and shit, I used to hate it when they used to mix the remix in or the cover version. I used to want to shoot the fucking DJ. Whenever. And it always be the low budget DJs that Central always be hiring that be
Oh
doing
my
that.
God, yes.
The low budget DJs, cause you don't catch niggas like fucking low key doing no shit like that.
No, you don't get DJ Low Key or DJ Ashby.
Hell
Uh-uh.
no. Hell no, man. Shout out to Central though, man.
Mhm.
Eagle.
Yeah, Eagle Pride all day.
Yeah. Even y'all raggedy, even y'all raggedy at times and shit. Now, this album, it might be a surprise to some, but if you guys know me, you guys know I love particular albums like this, and it's the Uptown MTV Unplugged album.
Oh.
Yes, I've always been a fan of Unplugged and shit like that. Certain albums, whenever it's done right, and
Right.
I felt like the Uptown MTV Unplugged album, whether it was MTV's way of cashing in on the hip hop R&B crowd like they were doing,
Mhm.
it was actually very good. It was actually some of the most influential rawest performances R&B. Like you had Jodeci with their first set. Their highlight was the Stevie Wonder cover of Lately. I also like the rendition of Come and Talk to Me
Right.
too. Um, then you got
Right.
followed up with Father MC. He performed One Night Stand, and then you got Mary J. Blige. Fucking doing her shit with Sweet
Hmm.
Thing. I don't want to do anything.
Right.
And Christopher Williams. Now, this cover of Come and Go with Me, man. Let me tell y'all something. If you guys have not heard or seen that performance, I recommend you watching that now. That is possibly the highlight of the whole show. And I'm not even the biggest Christopher Williams fan, but I saw that shit. I was like, yes. A little trivia about that performance though. Um, it was said that on Harrell he did an interview that I think MTV originally didn't want to broadcast it at first and stuff like that because they felt like the come and go with it would not capture the audience. So Christopher Williams pretty much trashed offices in Uptown Records, and that's how he got kicked out of Uptown Records. So that's interesting,
Oh
right there.
wow.
Yeah. If you guys watch this unsung, he told us the whole story about it.
Hmm.
And then it ends off with Heavy D and the boys doing the "Is It Good to You" or Blue Funk. Then it also
Yes.
has a studio version of Next Stop Uptown. So yeah, this is a very, very, very good live album. I recommend you guys watching it. The whole episode is on YouTube too. So yeah, man. I wish
Right.
MTV would really just go back to doing shit like this. Like no more of these
They need
6
to.
pregnant. No more of these
Teen Mom.
teen moms. Stop trying to get
Right.
young girls
They're
pregnant so
not team no more.
TV.
I know
Go
they
back
they're
to
almost
other
30.
roots. Like go back to y'all mom. Both y'all and VH. I'm just sick and tired of this reality TV and shit. It's like every year it's the same concept with these reality TV. Like like and even if you
Right.
rerun the old shit, I would not even mind.
Right.
Like
Right.
damn, or release it on DVD or something. Like y'all
You
know
know they'll
y'all
Exactly.
never do that.
shit.
Yeah,
You're
I know how you feel though, Reg, because I mean, the only way you would ever keep stuff like that now is if you watch stuff on MTV Jams,
right.
or should I say BET Jams now? I think they changed that.
Well, they have MTV Jams and BET Jams.
Yeah, yeah.
Shit.
One of them stations are the only way you're gonna keep all the old stuff like that. And I wish
Right.
VH1 would do the same thing, like when it comes to showing me old music videos and all that. I don't mind that.
For real, man. Like y'all know y'all can release that shit on DVD. Y'all can release all these crappy ass shows, like these reality shows. Y'all can release this shit on DVD. Stop fucking
But you
Yeah.
know
playing,
they will never think to do that.
because they fucking playing, man. Like they want to. Like I'm sorry, man. They just want to work so hard to get their fucking roots and shit, man. Just they fucking playing.
The only way that will work is if we write a petition or a letter to the
Shit,
network.
shit, they never read that shit anyway. Shit like that, they never read. Oh man. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
Mm,
All right. My number four. We just talked about him. Christopher Williams changes. I need to get that album. It's out of print. I need that in my collection. A great R&B album. I think he's one of the best singers, underrated. You know, you had joints like "Come Go with Me" and "Good Lovin'," "When a Fool Becomes a Man," "Every Little Thing You Do." Classic R&B. It's a shame of the things he did to get him kicked off the label, but
hmm
when he was there, he was definitely underrated, and they should have promoted him more. That performance on Unplugged that Reg is talking about, that was a great performance, and yeah, that definitely I'm Dreaming. That's like the last track on the album as well from New Jack
Yeah,
City. Definitely love that album. So that definitely had to put that on this list.
yeah. My number four, Reg, I think already mentioned this earlier. I'll be sure in effect mode. Yeah, I know. My mom loves his music, and I know one of her cousins love his music as well. Of course, who could possibly forget about Night and Day? That's timeless right there. And On Your Own Girl, that's another good joint right there. And
Hmm.
I know I remember my mom telling me a story that one of her cousins went to see him in concert back during the late 80s, and her cousin told her that I'll be sure could not dance. When she saw him performing, I'm like, oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, no, no.
I was like, what? You kidding me?
Not even a
Like, that's a
running
shame.
man. He
But he
couldn't
wasn't
do
as
that.
bad as Johnny Gill from the Rub You the Right
Wow.
video. I'm sorry.
Oh my god. And my mom's a Johnny Gill fan. I mean, she loves his music too, but oh my god, that video! I remember watching that. That was so cringeworthy.
Mm.
I even told my mom that whoever was the choreographer could have taught him some better moves than that. I mean, let's be real. Like, say, like if we had the ability to go back in time or whatever, and someone would at
Man.
least teach us some different moves, then maybe that video would have been way more better than what it was.
Man.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah. Mm.
So this next pick was pretty much a last minute switch. Um, I feel like this album is pretty much my favorite album. Not my favorite album from these guys, but one of my most listened to, and it's Heavy D and the Boys with the Big Time album that dropped in '89.
I see.
Yeah, this album right here, I want to say this is like the album that really broke them through or put them out there more. I mean, I mean, classic after classic, like we got our own thing, like that shit. I love that song.
Yeah.
Somebody for me. I remember that episode of A Different World when Heavy D and the Boys guest starred.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I love that episode when Dwayne was performing Heavy D and the Boys and shit like that. Yeah, like very, very, very dope episode. Flexing. Girls, the girls that love me. He's in
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah.
You know, fucking this whole shit's
All right.
catchy. Like this is
I
pop
know.
on the right. This is New Jack. This is a perfect mirror between New Jack Swing and hip hop, man. It's just like this motherfucker can do anything. Like
Yeah.
literally this that motherfuckers talk about Drake and shit. But this nigga can do anything. Like he can sing, rap, dance, and he's light skinned too. So what y'all
Mm-hmm.
say? Shit.
Mm.
Mm.
Oh man.
Also,
Number what we at? Number 3? Go
Yep.
ahead.
hold up. We
Go ahead.
yeah, we at number 3. I was gonna say yeah, this was also the last album with Trouble T. Roy too. Just throwing it out
Oh
there.
yeah. I mean, that
All
was
right.
so sad when he died, though.
Oh yeah. Number 3. Number 3 for me, in my opinion, the best Jodeci album, Diary of a Madman. Love the production. The production, Devontae and Mr. Dalvin. Like, let's give these niggas they props. I think
Yes.
they were listening to a lot of Chronic and a lot of EPMD when they did this album.
They
And
were
you
rolling
got
with Jeff Burrow on that
you
song.
got like Jeep bangers like in the meanwhile, like turn that shit up on blast. That shit is knocking. You got joints like You Got It and Sweaty
Preach.
and
Yes.
Alone. Like, yo, this is not even an R&B album. This is a hip hop album being sung by R&B singers. Let's get that right. It's not even an R&B album.
Say it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got Redman. Redman was this is before There's a Dark Side. Redman. Redman killed it. We got Wendy Williams on the skit on that skit before the Redman thing.
Back,
That shit is fire.
back when she
Um,
was remotely attractive.
right. On the cassette version though, there's a bonus track called Success. It's only on the CDs, not on the cassette. I remember I had a cousin that she had bought the album on cassette, and when I bought the album on CD, the bonus track was on the CD only, and she was highly pissed off. I'm like, yo, that's what they were doing at that time. You look at Doggy Style, the OG copy, they had only on the cassette though that from my cassette Doggy Style they had G's Up Hoes Down, but you have to get the CD joint for that song. You know what I'm saying? But yo, this album is crazy. Cry for You. What About Us? Fiendin', like bananas. But when I saw them in concert, Mr. Darwin was playing drums. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how
Drums.
ill like these cats are. Like they were not only playing their own instruments. You know what I'm saying? So definitely the best Jodeci album, in my opinion. I love the first one too, and the show, the hotel, the after party was great. But to me, this is the best one. This was like Jodeci telling the world like, fuck Boyz II Men, we're the bad boys of R&B, and this is how. And you know they got on the Billboard Awards that year with like the ski mask on and everything. Crazy,
Mm.
crazy shit, yo. Like
Mm,
great.
Boy.
This would be like in my top 5 R&B albums of all time. That's how great it is.
mm.
So yeah, I definitely had it.
And you know the fucking thing though, like you see all these fucking cats trying to emulate Jodeci, trying to be bad boys in R&B and
Right.
stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
these motherfuckers ain't no bad boys. They some fucking crybabies, man.
Yeah.
I mean, a fucking bad
Like
boy that
who?
cry.
Who exactly?
Yep.
You said what?
Like who exactly?
Man, there's so much cats to name and shit like that. Like fucking, what's that one R&B singer that August Alsina? I used to kiss.
August
Never like
Alsina?
August,
Right.
ever like August Alsina. Um, see that's the thing. That's not even.
Jeremiah?
Oh yeah, here's another one. That stupid one. Like I can't stand Jeremiah. Um,
Jacquees?
Miguel is cool. Who?
Miguel is dope.
Jacquees?
Hell no.
Jacquees
Jacquees?
needs to jump off a
The king
bridge.
of R&B? Hell no.
The jester of R&B. Shit.
Oh
Just hearing that
Lord.
name alone drives me to drink some Hennessy, man. Like, how dare you
Man.
have the nerve to disrespect Keith Sweat when you've been trying to do an imitation of him your whole fucking career? Get the fuck
Mm.
out of here, Jacquees. Fuck Jack. Like he should not even be anywhere near king of R&B. Like he's a jester of R&B. Fuck Jacquees, man. Fuck all
Mm.
these niggas. Man. These niggas, man. They're not even R&B. It's fucking
What do you
auto tune
call it
bullshit.
if
Nah.
it's not
Auto tune
R&B?
bullshit.
What do you call
Auto
it if it's
tune
not
bullshit.
R&B?
Like, give me a Frank Ocean.
It's not.
Give me a Sam Smith. Give me an Anderson .Paak. Give me a BJ the
Right.
Chicago Kid. That's R&B.
Mm-hmm.
Give me an Anthony
That's
Hamilton.
R&B.
What about Miguel?
Yeah, Miguel.
Right.
Miguel.
Miguel is dope, yeah.
Like, and where are the fucking male R&B groups? Like, where
I
the
don't
fucking
know.
like
I think they all got out
Groups are
during the early
obsolete now. Everybody
2000s.
goes solo.
we still got the
Yeah.
internet. The internet's still holding on and shit.
Mm-hmm.
See, Sam, the
The
weekend.
the weekend is the
He
weekend crosses though. He's not R&B. He's not pure R&B.
Yo,
he crosses over between R&B and pop.
hey, yo,
Right.
I might do a first album reaction to his recent album just to get the hype over with. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
boy.
Y'all trying to join me?
I bought the album, so I'm down. I bought the album. I like
Okay,
it.
yo,
I'm
cause
in. I'm in. I'm in.
I saw some of that video when
I
he was
fuck with the
dressing up
weekend.
like Richard
But
Pryor from
he's
the
not pure R&B. He's more like
shit. But the weekends,
no,
the
I
weekend.
was saying like
You said what?
right.
No,
No,
you
I
go.
was saying like he's more like he crosses over to like EDM and rock, and he has all that in his
Yeah,
music. So he's not like pure R&B.
exactly. Like as soon as he dropped that Earn It song, I knew it was going to change that boy's career.
Right.
Yeah, it
Like
did. It did.
it just, I don't know. Like Beauty Behind the Madness was cool, but the trilogy. It's just there's something about this fucking work right here.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it's
definitely,
just something
definitely.
about this shit. Something
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like nigga. But yeah,
It's
yeah,
dope.
we gotta get back to this list and shit.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's just
Yeah.
this
We
fucking
still at number 3.
yeah.
You go, Ashley.
Okay, all right. My number three pick is another Heavy D and the Boys album that was mentioned already. Nothing But Love. Of course, not only that, the title track, I love that song and Got Me Waiting. Oh my god, that's another favorite of mine cuz
Mhm.
I never get tired of it. I never get tired of it cuz I know my dad had that compilation CD and I know that song was on there. I love that sampling from Luther Vandross. Oh my god, that was so good. And the chorus is catchy. It's one of my all time favorite Heavy D and the Boys songs, along with other stuff on all his previous albums. Now that we found love, we got our own thing. Is it good to you? Yep.
Right.
Yeah, man. It's kind of crazy because I was recently watching Juice and
Nice.
shit like that,
You.
and
I was just about to bring that up. Yeah, of course I heard it in Juice. Yeah.
man, ah man,
Mm,
shoot. So this
that
next
movie never gets old.
for you're my fucking problem. Shit, you got the juice now. Like, nigga, all your friends did. That's the best thing you can fucking say.
No, no, no. One of them didn't die though.
Oh yeah, yeah. He didn't die.
Mhm.
What's his name? Steel. That's his name. Steel.
Yeah.
Still right.
Shit. So this next album, people are always drawn to tragedy, and people are always drawn to scandal. And so this next album, a lot of people are drawn to it. Mary J. Blige's "My Life." Yeah, I'm actually surprised no one mentioned this yet. If I'm not mistaken, but
Not
fuck
yet.
it.
Not yet.
Shit. Um, this album right here is a masterpiece. A lot of people, a lot of people have quoted this album. A lot of people try to duplicate this album and stuff like that. Like this was a very dope album. Around this time, she was dating KC and stuff like that,
Yeah.
getting high and drunk, getting high and drunk and whatnot. And then also around this time, she was pretty much eyeing, almost signing to death row or having Suge as a manager. Believe it or not.
Right.
Oh yeah, like both
Mm-hmm.
Jodeci and Mary J. Blige. And a lot of people have
Yep.
said that that was one of the keys to Suge and Puffy had their little issues with one another.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, black on black, black on black. Let me stop. So yeah, with this album right here, it further goes in with the hip hop soul. I mean, you have songs like Mary Jane All Night Long. Love that song. Once you hear those drums and stuff like that, her cover of Rolls Royce, I'm Going Down, which I'm sorry, but I love this version more than Rolls Royce's version. Um, and in the video, this is the beginning when Mary J. Blige was doing that shit in the videos and shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was the beginning of that era. Um, has the fucking Keith Murray interlude, fucking Keith ripping off the "Who Shot Your Beat." Um,
Mhm.
Right.
to be with you. Oh my fucking god,
I love that song.
yo, be with you. My life.
Yep.
Um, check out the Soul Train performance of that track when she's actually performing live over her pre-recorded vocals. So peep that shit out.
Right.
Of course, you bring me joy. Everyone knows that one, right?
Yes.
So,
All right.
yeah, this album is such an amazing album. Um, maybe I, it's hard to say what's my favorite album. Like some days I like this album more. Some days I'm a what's for one person. Hell, some days I'm a shit out world person though. You know what I'm saying? But it's just her first five albums are my favorites. So I'm gonna say that.
I agree. I see.
And some days I will throw the breakthrough in it. Some days.
Oh yeah,
I have that album, The
that
Breakthrough.
that to me is the last solid one, the breakthrough.
You ain't like on the one after The Breakthrough?
What's that?
Growing
Stronger
pains.
with every tear, something like that.
No, no, not that one. Not that one. Growing Pains.
That was alright.
It was
It
alright.
wasn't great though. Yeah, it wasn't great. She
But
picked the right singles though. Like Just Fine was dope, and
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yep.
yeah, that was
I
great.
love
Mm.
yeah. I love the remix with the Chubb Rock sample and shit like that with Lil Wayne too. That was a dope remix.
Right.
But you
Yeah,
didn't care
man.
for none of her other stuff after that, huh?
I mean, she stronger with each tier. That was okay. Like she had like mediocre albums to me. Like after the breakthrough, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then it's like she tried to do the My Life sequel. I didn't
My
like that.
Life,
Like,
My Life
yeah,
2, Act 1.
yeah, I didn't like that.
You
These
ain't
That
artists
like
have to
that?
stop. Nah, these artists got to stop doing sequels to their classic albums because it fails in comparison. Like the only one to do that was good was Raekwon. Raekwon, you know, when he did Cuban Link 2, that was like that was a solid album to the classic one. But when you got like Mary J trying to do that and then Rick Ross trying to do Port of Miami too, and you know what I'm saying? They like it don't come
oh
off the same.
whoa. Port of Miami 2 was dope. Hold up. But
I thought it
back
was okay.
back
It's not great though. Like Port of Miami 1 is classic. I don't think part two was on that level though. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I would
So
call Port of Miami classic. I don't know.
no,
I feel
I
like
think
when
I think Ross first five is classic. After that, you know what I'm saying? It's debatable because I've heard people say they love Mastermind. I don't think Mastermind was great though. And
yeah.
then when what's the other one? The other one after I forgot the other one after that. Black Dollar was it?
Yeah, I never heard that one.
That was he dropped a mixtape with the same name. The mixtape was better than that. You know what I'm saying? So to me, his first five are like classic. Like after that is debatable. Hood Billionaire. I skipped over that one. Um, rather you than me. That was okay. It wasn't great to me. So I don't know. Like he's become hit or miss to me. But when these artists do they sequels to the Stillmatic was great. I love Stillmatic. That's a classic. But I mean I don't. Would you call that a sequel to Illmatic though?
I never called Stillmatic a sequel. That was just Nas letting his niggas know he's still nasty Nas in his
Right.
heart to me.
Right. I don't think that's a sequel to Illmatic, but if it is, it's a classic. That's I love that album. But Mary was hit and miss to me. Like I like the London sessions, but it wasn't like the London sessions. Like I think Sam Smith like wrote a lot of those songs for her. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But a
I
classic,
gotta
she
get my
hasn't really had
hands
a
on London
classic.
Sessions.
She hasn't had a classic since like what? Maybe No More Drama. I mean, I don't know. Like
I
I don't
don't
know.
have No More Drama either. I gotta get my hands on that one too.
Right. But yeah, Breakthrough was a great album. That was a dope album. But after that, to me, she was even with the last album. Like
What, Strength
nobody
of a
was talking
Woman?
about. Yeah, that the one what's the name of that joint?
What, the album Strength of a Woman?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. Like I heard it. Yeah, it was cool, but I mean, it's like she could do better. If you go into a divorce, you could do better. Like we need drunk Mary back. We need Mary on drugs. Like that's when she made her best shit.
No, no, no,
Yeah,
no,
I
no,
need Mary
no,
on
Oh,
Xanax.
no,
You know what I'm saying?
bro,
I need
no,
Mary popping
no,
pills.
don't
bro,
say that.
but back to My Life too. Wasn't that song had that song Somebody to Love Me Naked when she was trying to sound Asian?
Right,
Looking
that was on
for
there. Right,
Oh
someone
yeah,
to
yeah.
love.
right.
Nan. I was like, why is Mary J. Blige trying to sound Asian now? Like,
Wait. Hold on. I don't think that was on My Life too. I think that was on Stronger with Each Cheer. I
It was on
think.
that one. I
oh,
thought
Think.
it was on
okay.
the deluxe edition for that album though.
Nan.
If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong. I thought it was on that album.
Shit.
Mm.
You know what I
Someone
mean?
to love me. I think that Puffy was dancing in the video too.
Right.
Oh my
Right.
god.
Oh no.
Mm.
Shit. Mm.
How did we get on Mary? I was so
No,
Oh
I
man.
was saying my life because I was talking about
Oh,
my
right,
life.
Yeah,
right,
yeah, my life, my life. He was talking about this one here.
right.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I don't know. I just think she was hit and miss after the breakthrough, but you know,
Oh shit. Yo. I never knew she dropped a remix EP to my life.
What?
remix EP.
Yeah. Holy shit.
What's on
When
that
did that
joint?
happen?
They said 1996. Hold up.
I don't know that joint.
I don't remember that.
All these years I've been trying to look for my life remixes. Oh man. But yeah, it's on you, try. It's on you, really.
Oh, number two for me is What's the 411? Love it. Classic album. This is like Hood Mary, door knocking earrings Mary, baseball hat and Doc
Yeah.
Martin boots Mary. Like
Mhm.
I remember like staring at the back cover. Like they used to have the back cover in the Source magazine and staring at that cover for hours. And she was gorgeous too, man. Like she's still gorgeous now, but
Yes.
Mary, when she was hurt, like she was. I think that's when like a lot of women felt her pain and felt the drama she was going through, like the crap with KC and all that other stuff, and
Mhm.
Real Love and Reminisce and You Remind Me. Even the remixes, like when P Rock and Seal Smooth was on that remix for I think it was Reminisce. That was dope. You got Buster was on one of the interludes on here, and I love it, man. Like Puffy did his thing on this joint. Andre Harrell, rest in peace to him. They definitely found a star in Mary, and this is a classic album. This would be like in my top three of all time as well, along with the Jodeci Diary of Madman. Definitely a classic album. Great production, hip hop soul. He's singing over like hip hop beats. Like Mary started that. Like if it wasn't for Mary, we wouldn't have everybody else out. There'd be no Ashanti and Keisha Cole, and there wouldn't be
Nope.
none of them. Like Mary opened that lane for women and men to sing over hip hop beats and make it sound soulful and still street at the same time. And how remixes are just as great as well. So definitely had to put this on the list.
Yeah, my number two, even though this was mentioned like way earlier, is Guy's second album, the Future album. Of course, it had hits like Let's Chill, and they had Teddy's Jam Part Two, their rendition of Yearning for Your Love by the Gap Band, which was very good in my opinion. And
Right.
there was this one song that I liked, Let's Stay Together, that I liked so much. Yeah. But I feel bad that it took them like nearly a decade for them to come with a third album, and I haven't even listened to that. But for what y'all saying about it, I'm not going to peep that then.
Yeah, man. Because like I said, after 90, I want to say maybe 98, Teddy's production was kind of downhill, in my opinion. I didn't
Mm,
really care. And the thing about that album, it was just like, it pretty much sounded like every other Army record at that time and shit.
Right. Right.
That was my other issue with it.
hmm
All right. And then we had the last album.
Number one.
Since we're in the topic of God, I'm going to take it back to the debut album.
Gotcha.
Like, yeah, man, the debut album, I feel like this was the album, like, if this was really the album, there was like a trinity of New Jack Swing albums. Make It Last Forever, Don't Be Cruel, and this shit right here.
Oh yeah.
One thing I like about this album, it was just so, it just have a street appeal. Like, when you hear the groove later, like, tonight, like, once you hear that, like, the whole dance was gonna go crazy and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Teddy's Jam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fucking, you can get a piece of my love.
Oh yeah.
Which, there was an urban legend that Aaron Hall said stupid bitch in the intro.
What?
But yeah, even Common said it in the song reminding me of Seth. He said that I think like he mentioned it in his song and stuff like that, but it turned out it was false and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh wow.
And Nas used that sample for the Bobby track off "Life Is Good." And one thing y'all should know about this track, y'all should definitely know, is the fact that originally um God was not supposed to have been like I mean Damian Hall was not originally supposed to have been in the group because Aaron Hall and this other guy, Gatling, what was the cast name? Try, what was the first name of the
Um,
nickname, last name Gatling?
Terry Gatlin, I think his name is
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
They were butting heads and whatnot, and Gatling left the group, and
Right.
that's when Aaron told Damian Hall to come in the group and shit. So
Mhm.
pretty much you can already see it's gonna be a rocky boat for him to get go, because
Mm.
both Aaron and Teddy, like I like them both musically, but their egos together is like ugh.
Yeah.
Like imagine if God would have came out with a couple other dope albums throughout the '90s and shit, but
Yeah.
just those first two albums just did their best and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Definitely got to show some love to Guy in the future. Show these young motherfuckers that Teddy Riley is not just a nigga with a hype man dancing and shit. So yeah.
My number one, gotta go to Mary. My Life, love it. Classic album. Production by Chucky Thompson, Puffy, Mr. Dalvin again. Um, just great. Like Mary knows how to hold down an album by herself. She ain't have to have a whole bunch of collabs and a bunch of nonsense. Keith Murray, he's like the only collab on here. He got his own interlude, and he was also on the Be Happy remix.
Mhm.
Got even the remixes were dope. Like if anybody heard the I'm Going Down remix with the Method was Method Man on there? I think Method Man was on there, right? The I'm
To
Going
be
Down
honest,
remix. They sent my bad. He wasn't on there. They she sang over the What beat with Method and Biggie from the Ready to Die album.
oh
That remix
yeah,
joint.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
That joint was hot. And the Mary Jane joint, one of my favorites on here. The All Night Long she sampled, and
Mhm.
I heard that LL is on that remix. There's a remix from Mary Jane where LL is on that joint. He killed it.
Oh wow.
Um, No One Else, produced by Mr. Dalvin, one of my favorite tracks on there. I love that song. I'm Going Down, like I said. But You Bring Me Joy, love that song. It's the classic album, man. Like she could do no wrong on here. Like that's why I prefer Drunken and High Mary. Like we need Mary back on Xanax
Oh
and
Lord.
I'm serious. Like if we have Mary on Xanax and she's drunk and off a Henny,
yo,
we could get
No, no,
a
no,
real
no,
My
no.
Life
probably
Part
give
Two.
her,
Can we get My
probably
Life
give
Part Two, Mary? I need you popping pills again and shit, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, no, no,
probably give
no,
her Janae Aiko's dealer or some shit.
no.
word, you
Come
know what I
on
mean?
now.
Mary on that Kush. We need
No.
that. But
Yo,
this is some of her best music ever. Like this is like classic album. I will put this R&B album against any R&B album. I don't care what genre it is, what decade. Like any R&B album from the '70s or '80s or 2000s. I will put this album up against those albums, and it will beat those albums. I don't care who it is. It could be Jodie Watley, it could be Beyonce, whoever. I think it still will come out on top. I have that much confidence in Mary. So, a legend.
so,
Love this album.
so
Mm.
you'll put that album against Dangerously in Love.
Oh
Yes,
my God.
definitely. Like you know what? I'm not a big Beyonce fan. I like a lot of her songs, but that's the only Beyonce album that I actually bought because I think that was a classic album for Beyonce.
Oh
But
yeah,
even that album is not beating My Life. My Life is way better.
oh yeah, man.
Mm.
Yeah, to be honest, when it comes to Beyonce, oh go ahead.
And like there's certain albums you could put against other albums and it'll win. Like for me, like Michael Jackson Thriller or Purple Rain, they could beat a lot of albums. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? When you put like Illmatic or Cuban Link or the Chronic Doggy Style. There could be a lot of albums in their genre. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one of those albums where you can put up against like a 64 tournament album battle and it'll come out on top. So I love it. I love it that much.
Hmm.
Yeah, man. MJB.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give Yonkers a lot of love today.
Yeah. Yeah. Coincidentally, my number one album choice is Mary J's My Life
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
Surprisingly, yeah. Yes, because I've been wanting to get my hands on this for a long time and I got it like a couple of weeks ago. Thank God I got it. But yeah, a lot of timeless and great songs off here. Mary Jane All Night Long. You Bring Me Joy. My Life. I'm Going Down. What else? What else? Be With You and Be Happy. Yep. Those are my favorite songs
Okay.
off this album, and it really, I feel was like where her career was really going to take off. You thought What's the 411 was good. This only gets better with time. It never seems like it'll never get old because it's that unforgettable of an album. But yeah, but I'm surprised y'all didn't really care too much when she did My Life Part 2.
Hell no. Hell no. That fails in comparison to this one. That is a disappointing sequel album to this album.
Mm.
You know what I'm
Unfortunately, my
saying?
mom got that one though.
Oh man, I
Yeah,
wasn't buying that joint.
yeah. I think her best friend was telling her about it, or either gave it to her, or she ended up purchasing it from Target or something.
Man, no. I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
love Mary, but no, that was a mistake.
Oh
I
shit.
heard at some point she might do a follow up for that,
Oh God, part
like
three,
My Life
My Life
Act
3?
2 or something
part
like
three.
that.
No, but she
What?
gotta be on drugs for that. She gotta be popping pills
That's what I've
and
been hearing. That's what I heard. Like I think last year, or year before.
she gotta be.
I don't
No,
know how true that is.
I need drunk and high Mary for that. I need back to drama, back to the drama. That should be the
Oh,
subtitle for it. My Life Part 3, Back to the Drama. That's what we need. I don't want to hear clean because clean Mary it's not cutting. Like she made her best stuff when she was going through turmoil, when she was going through heartache and pain. You know, Share My
Y'all just
World.
want
Share My World
y'all
is a
just
solid
want
album. People shit on
y'all
that
to
album
have a
too.
nervous breakdown.
You know what I mean?
Y'all just want this girl to have a nervous breakdown or something.
I'm just
mm.
Y'all just
saying,
want this
like,
girl to go through
yo,
all the trauma so y'all can get one good album from Mary.
That I ain't say none of that. That's
Share
all
My
pride.
World was a solid album. She was going through heartache with that album. That's the type of R&B we missing right now. It's like everybody covers up they heartache and they pain. We need for them to show it. If you're going through a heartache from your boyfriend cheated on you or he had a side piece, we need that being spoken in your music. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what Beyonce's Lemonade was and shit.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's Jay-Z. We knew Jay-Z was a player. Hello, Big Pimpin'. We knew that. That's nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Like
Miss,
that's nothing new to us. We knew that. We knew that from back then. He supposedly have a kid in Trinidad. We knew that. He slept
Oh
with Fee from
God.
Montesquieu Park. We knew that. He had Rosario Dawson. He had Aaliyah. Like that's nothing new. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? Like tell us something we don't know. Like if you say like Beyonce caught Jay-Z in bed with another man, then that's something we don't know. You know what I'm saying? But we already knew that he
whoa,
was a pimp.
Mm.
Like, come on. You know?
what if Jay was in bed with Puffy?
Yeah,
Oh
like he was caught in bed with Big Jazz. Okay, well that's why they
Oh,
called him Big Jazz. We didn't know that. You know, you know what I'm
chill,
saying?
chill, chill.
Lord. Mm.
You know?
Hawaiian Sophie.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like we need heartache and pain in R&B. That's what's missing from R&B. This is why Erica Badu and Jill Scott put on a great performance because they had pain in their music. You know what I'm
Yo,
saying? They wasn't afraid to show who they are. You know?
Yeah.
speaking of that, yeah, I saw that battle last night. That shit was dope. I liked that.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was great.
That was probably my favorite one so far.
Yeah. That was great.
I know next week they're doing Ludacris and Nelly next week.
Oh god.
Nelly don't got 20 hits. Now they do Ludacris. So what are they doing? Like mixtape shit? What are they do? Like I could count.
Oh shit!
I
Oh,
counted all of Ludacris hits. He got maybe about 14 or 15. If you and that's counting the soundtrack stuff. Nelly, he got less than that. He got about maybe nine big hits. So how are they
Oh
gonna draw down
god.
20?
but they're also gonna do featured guests because remember in the Erica and Jill Scott battle, you know Erica and Jill was featured guests on certain tracks, so they're gonna throw that shit in there too.
Oh.
Nelly losing
But
that.
I got versus Ti. I don't give a fuck about
I'd
no
rather
Nelly like
see,
that.
yeah,
Shit.
T.I. got more hits than Nelly. I'd rather see T.I. against Luda.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm
But,
not gonna peep
but I'm
that.
ready for this Diddy and Dr. Dre battle and shit. I want to see what
Oh
that's gonna
boy.
happen.
Bone Thugs
Let's
and
see.
Six Mafia. We still waiting for that one.
Yeah, I wanna see that
Well, I
one.
thought that shit already happened.
Nah,
No.
what happened was that wasn't sponsored by Versuz. Like Versuz, they stepped in and they're gonna actually have the official one. And
Ooh,
Yeah.
Swizz Beatz last night, he said that he told Timbaland that they got 50 battles lined up that they're not telling nobody about yet.
Oh shoot.
50 battles. So that means they gotta have the big dogs in there. I want to see Eminem, I
I
want to
heard.
see Nas, I want to see J, LL Cool J. Like you gotta have them in here.
Everybody.
Yo, y'all heard DMX wants to battle Jay Z.
DMX.
What?
Yeah, that would be a good battle.
Oh
That
yeah,
would be a
yeah,
good
that
DMX wants to battle
yeah.
Jay Z.
DMX got 20 hits. He could definitely beat Jay-Z.
Oh
You know,
yeah, man.
definitely.
And count off of the Rough Riders shit.
Right. Right.
But there's like a lot of bad blood between those two and shit like that.
Mm.
Right. But that's let's have the battle. Let's let the people decide once and for all, like who had the better hits.
Yeah.
Ja Rule and 50 Cent. That battle. I always wanted to battle 50 Cent.
Yeah, I want to see that too. Come on,
Yeah.
50.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just do it once and for all.
Who had the better love
Once
song?
and for all.
Who had the better love song? Ja Rule had a better love song. Let's make that straight.
Yeah, Ja, of course.
Always on
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
mesmerize.
Yeah.
Down ass chick. He had the better love song.
Ain't that funny remix?
Right.
Rainy Days with Mary J. Blige, man.
Yes.
What's Love with he wrote
Oh
that
yeah.
for Fat Joe. I mean,
Fire.
shit.
Oh yeah.
Fire.
But yeah, I'm actually liking this whole versus shit.
Yeah. No.
It's actually making me rediscover certain songs, or it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
And they have TV networks talking to them, so they might turn this into like a major show.
Well, we just have to wait and see.
Imagine if we see this on like NBC or ABC, like Queen Latifah against MC
Oh,
Light. That would be crazy.
no.
No, I
ABC
don't
and
think they will
NBC.
want it on them networks. I think they'll want it on a black network like
Like
TV
network.
One or BET.
Right.
If it was on BET, man, it's like certain motherfuckers won't even do it because they don't even support BET like that.
Right.
So
True.
No.
that's why I feel like it should just stay. It should just stay online for now and shit.
Yeah,
Right.
for
They
now.
they
Yeah.
thinking about money though. They want the money for that.
Yeah.
Shit. But yeah, y'all, I'm actually gonna call it a night and shit like that. My webcam got to charge up a bit. But yeah, this was a very dope day. A very good day today.
Teddy Riley over Devontae, Ronnie. Uptown or Motown?
Ooh.
Oh Lord.
I grew up in the Uptown era, but Motown is legendary. So I don't know.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
that's what I was gonna say.
Diana
Motown's
Ross and
legendary.
Smokey and Marvin Gaye. I don't
The
know. That's a whole.
Temptations
They're on a
and
different level.
Boys to Men. I mean,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
shit. That's not even fair. That's just ooh.
No, that's not fair right there because Motown been around since the late 50s.
Right.
Uptown was around from late 80s
Like a
to
decade. You know what I mean?
yeah, from late 80s to like 99.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, somebody asked me who's my favorite Uptown Records artist. Oh wow, fuck it, Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mary.
Definitely.
Shit. Yeah, y'all. I'm gonna call tonight though. 'Cause I'm a little tired and shit. It's been a long day for me.
Yeah.
Mm,
So yeah, thank y'all so much as usual. I'm gonna text y'all later about some ideas I have.
All
all
right.
right.
And if you guys have not haven't watched it yet, we did a review on LOX Money Power Respect too. So I
Gotcha.
want y'all to check that shit out. As usual, this is your boy Reg here. Hope y'all have a good night. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.